Social and political commentary from a Christian male perspective.
And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. You saw the scoreboard. You know what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be updating you all. They caught one of the Pookies. They caught one of them on Memorial Day of all days. They caught one of them. So if you watched my live stream earlier today, we just went over like the lay of the land, went over a couple of things that have been popping up, and as well as other inmates that have been escaping from other jails, right? I thought we were going to be done for the day. I didn't think we were going to have anything else to talk about, but just like that, shout out. So we got some fun stuff to talk about. We're not going to be super long on this evening because it's just a very simple update. Shout out to everybody who's already jumped up into the best live chat on the internet. Thank you so much for jumping in. I appreciate you, Costa Chameleon. Oh my goodness, what's happened now? Well, stay tuned. We got one. They got one. So the score is now 12 accomplices, 6 Pookies, and no Jim Bobs. No Jim Bobs have been caught yet. If you're not familiar with a Jim Bob is, please make sure you see the previous video. We explained the Jim Bob factor because there's just another inmate that escaped, and we just decided to call him Jim Bob. So, I mean, really high maintenance there, right? Shout out to you. Thank you so much, Costa Chameleon, for jumping in. Thank you, everybody who's in the live chat already. Let's go ahead and let's do this real quick. All right, shout out 6th New Orleans jail escapee captured, leaving 4 on the loose. And this is Mr. Linton Van Beern. Orleans Justice Center jail escapee Linton Van Beern. He was just a misunderstood tourist. He wasn't an escapee. He was misunderstood on his tourism. Get that right there. Okay, cool. Justice Center jail escapee Linton Van Beern Jr. was recaptured on Monday in Baton Rouge. A law enforcement source told Fox 8 Van Beeren's arrest makes 6 of the 10 fugitives who escaped the city lockup on the 16th of May have been recaptured. 4 others, and we already know who they are, remain at large. I'm still saying this, people. This wall looks like it looks like it's seen its share of people trying to get through it. I'm sorry. I don't know if I believe that this was the first time that wall or that sink was ever removed, but I digress. Baton Rouge police, acting on a tip, stopped a man wearing a mask. The source told Fox 8 the man was detained and identified as Van Beern. Authorities are executing a search warrant at a hotel where Van Beern was staying. Goodness gracious. Some of Van Beern's friends and relatives were arrested over the weekend, accused of harboring a fugitive and transporting him to evade capture. Patricia Van Beern, 18, and Tashina Randolph, 27, were booked as accomplices, or rather accessories, after the fact. Orleans Parish Magistrate Commissioner Jonathan Freeman set bond for both women at $1 million on Sunday. Y'all, that's just harsh, man. That's just harsh. My gosh, man. $1 million. Okay, according to the court records, the women brought Linton Van Beern at one point to his relative's house in Magnolia, Mississippi. How did he get to Mississippi? Hold on. I got to look this up now. All right, we're not going to be long. I want to look up, like, how are they transporting this guy around? So let me see a map from Magnolia, Mississippi to New Orleans, Louisiana. All right, just checking real quick. Just want to see. Well, that's not really that far. It's 110 miles roughly. Depends on which way you take it. But why did you come back though? If you went all the way to Magnolia, here, let me pull this map in real quick so you can see. If you went all the way to Magnolia, what was the purpose of coming back? Just showing you real quick. All right, so here's it disappeared. Sorry. All right, Magnolia, Mississippi to New Orleans. All right, let's see if we can do this correctly. Let's pull this back out. All right, try that again. Sorry about that, y'all. All right. All right. You know that this is live. You know that we're doing this live, y'all. Okay. Pull this back in. Doo-doo-doo. Okay. Some reason or other. All right. If you had, pull this in. Let's go. Why did they leave? They got away. They were all the way down here in New Orleans, went all the way up here to Magnolia, Mississippi. Why did you come back? That makes no sense at all. None of this makes any sense at this point. None of this makes any sense whatsoever. You got away. Why did you come back to Mississippi? And then they caught him in Baton Rouge. Where's Baton Rouge? Let me add a destination. So they went from Louisiana, I'm sorry, from New Orleans all the way up to Magnolia and then came back down to Baton Rouge. I don't know, man. Some of the stories they'd be telling, and some of these stories just sound like they're just making stuff up. I'm sorry, these stories just do not sound plausible. Like, why would you leave? You got away from ground zero. I mean, you're in Baton Rouge. If you're in Baton Rouge, I got you. But you left the state and went to Mississippi and then came back. Why? That makes no sense at all. Y'all deserve to get caught. I mean, that makes no sense. I'm trying to give you all the credit, but I don't think if it's necessary. All right. According to court records, the women brought Linton Van Beern Jr. at one point to his relative's house in Magnolia, Mississippi. Van Buren Sr. and Angel McKee also were booked over the weekend in connection with assisting the escapee. This developing story will be updated. Well, we know this. We've seen this several times.
A total of 11 people have now been booked as alleged accomplices accused of helping the 10.
Right. So we've seen this already. I think we're pretty comfortable with that. So what I'm going to do is just pull in this just for confirmation that we did in fact see brother Linton from the Attorney General's Facebook page captured inmate Linton Van Buren is now back in custody. He was picked up in Baton Rouge. I'm very proud of the DOJ Fugitive Apprehension Unit apprehension units work with our partners in Baton Rouge Police Department and Louisiana State Police. Van Buren was originally incarcerated on charges of parole violation, possession of firearm by a felon, and illegal carrying of a weapon. He will now face additional charges related to the escape. All right, there you go, brother. Let me see. He's about 30, give or take. No, he's about 29, give or take. But man, so they got one. They got one. Shout out to them. They finally caught one. Go figure. And that is so our Pookie score. We got 12 accomplices, 6 Pookies, and no Jim Bob. And Jim Bob is basically a gentleman that escaped from jail in Arkansas. And we wanted to see who would they catch first. There's one guy who's a former police officer versus the 6 Pookies that are running free. At the current moment, it's 4 Pookies, still 1 Jim Bob running around. And then also, how many accomplices are they going to end up catching before this whole thing's over with? I still think they're going to catch a lot more. I think some are going to get caught after they catch these, like Van Buren. I mean, he's responsible for like 4 or 5 people being hooked up. And I think that's what's going to happen. They're going to find out other people assisted, and they're going to get caught even after they get done with all of the catching all the fugitives. We'll see for sure. But shout out to Marshall, as always. Marshall the plug came through for sure. Is that what happened? Senior turned on Junior because he needed that bail money. I mean, it's $20K. Like, what? So would you, for example, if you picked them up, or now picked them up is kind of that was intentional. Let's say you didn't know he was a fugitive, and you saw him panhandling at the train station, and you gave him a couple bucks. Is that going to fall under assisting, or is that just you didn't know better? because they made it sound like you should know. Like you better know everybody you give money to. Like I'm gonna card everybody. Let me see your ID. Make sure you're not a fugitive. But no, I think that is pretty wild. They already said they finally caught one. They hadn't caught anybody since last Tuesday. Just in case you didn't remember that. They hadn't caught anybody since last Tuesday. So they've been kind of quiet. But now they're back. They're back. Let's see what happens with that. Let's see what happens with that. All right, I'm trying to check, see if there's any others out here. I don't think there are. I don't think there's any others that have happened. I'm just checking real quick, checking the traps. Thank you so much. Oh, this is fun. I'm actually enjoying this, Piggy Doo. I think this is a very interesting story. I'm learning a lot. And again, it's something I don't know anything about. So everything I'm learning is brand new information. I need to go ahead and make sure that I get in the algorithm though. I'm dropping that information. I'm getting you fresh off the press. I'm just looking real quick. I don't see anything else pertaining to it. They're still talking about the oh, hey, whoa, okay, the Jim Bob. Oh, they're talking about how the guy snuck out. All right, you got to do me a favor. Everybody got a pinky promise. You're gonna go back and watch the live stream from earlier where I talked about the Jim Bob, and we're gonna talk about how he snuck out of jail. Oh, they got it. They got video of him. Yo, okay, this story is crazy. He's a former police chief. So, police chief is not, that's not your first day on the job. He's accused, he was convicted of a deletion as well as an assault, an S assault. He was serving like 30 years plus 50. And then somehow the dude just walked out of jail. They got the video of it. So let me bring this in. This is crazy. This story is bananas. I don't even think Marshall saw this yet. Shout out to Marshall the plug. What's going on? Family getting caught up because they told them to stop by the house. Right. Look, don't come by my house. No, ma'am. No, sir. No, ma'am. No, sir. No, ma'am. No, sir. I don't need you coming by my house. Folk are getting in jail for that. They really are arresting people for stuff. Like they arrested dude grandma, man. Because she gave him some money, which she shouldn't have done. Hands down, she shouldn't have done it. But man. Okay, anyway, let's talk about this guy that escaped in Arkansas. All right. Green hearts in the chat when you can hear. Wow.
That breaking news, the manhunt continues for Grant Harden. He's a former Northwest Arkansas police chief who's been on the run now for more than a day after escaping from the North Central Unit near Calico Rock in North Arkansas. He was serving sentences at the prison for murder and rape when he escaped from custody yesterday afternoon. Now, Harden believed to be wearing clothing that mimicked law enforcement during his escape. He has deep connections to our area, serving as the chief of police in Gateway, Arkansas, before he was arrested for a deadly shooting in rural Benton County, then linked to a 1997 rape case. He eventually pled guilty to both crimes. We'll have much more on Harden's ties to our area in just a few moments. First, though, 5 News reporter Jacob Luthi is following the manhunt there in Izard County. That's where authorities say Harden escaped from the North Central Unit. Jacob, what's the latest? What are you hearing out there from search teams looking for him?
Yeah, Darren, it's now been over 24 hours since Grant Harden escaped from that prison in Calico Rock. And I will say that we've been here in Izard County all day and we have seen a heavy police presence, but I'm told that as time goes on, the search area will need to expand.
The search continues.
Checkpoints scattered throughout Izard County Monday as law enforcement personnel look for any sign of Grant Harden.
Department of Corrections is out there, Arkansas State Police, U.S. Marshals. We've had Fish and Game helping out, local sheriffs, local police departments. Pretty much anyone that can spare some officers.
Photos here from the Arkansas Department of Corrections shows what appears to be Harden leaving the North Central Unit in Calico Rock wearing a makeshift officer's uniform.
That is savage. Hold on, wait. Because we were trying to figure out, that is serious. Where did he get that uniform from? They call it a makeshift, but sir, that's probably a bona fide uniform. He got a uniform. He ain't over here crocheting it. That's a real uniform. That's what they need to admit. Yeah, look, just tell the truth. Y'all let that man get his hands on a real uniform.
Calico Rock wearing a makeshift officer's uniform. In 2017, Harden pleaded guilty to murdering James Appleton near Garfield. And in 2019, he pleaded guilty to the 1997 rape of a Rogers Elementary School teacher, crimes for which he received a combined 80-year sentence. Grand Champion with ADC says search efforts Monday focused mainly in the area near the prison.
We have a K-9 team that's here at this area. We have a lot of different agencies that are from this area that know it a little bit better. We're hoping that plays into our favor.
What was supposed to be a busy Memorial Day for Main Street Calico Rock instead used as a major checkpoint for police.
As far as our businesses being closed, I understand that the other businesses that are normally open were closed because of that, because of the breakout.
Lori Lane works for a local antique shop in the city and says the heavy police presence eases her mind.
It's a little disconcerting, but very rural area. I would have expected somebody would be hiding out in woods, not coming into town.
As the search continues, the Department of Corrections now looking into how Harden was able to escape.
We've been doing a very meticulous review of all the surveillance footage inside, trying to put together a timeline, trying to even backtrack, a few days, a few weeks, just leading up to see if there's anything that could kind of give some insight into what's going on. But yeah, it's a very thorough investigation right now.
Wow.
Now, Champion says that internal investigation will also be looking at policy and protocol to make sure something like this doesn't happen again. He also says that the search will continue through the night. In Calico Rock, covering news where you live, Jacob Luthi, 5 News.
All right, Jacob, thanks. With Hardens' ties to Northwest Arkansas, law enforcement here on high alert. Both of the crimes he is serving prison sentences happened in Benton County. He pled guilty to the deadly 2017 shooting of James Appleton, got a 30-year prison term for that. Prosecutors say the motive still remains unclear. DNA taken during that murder investigation then linked Harden to a cold case that went unsolved for 20 years. The 1997 rape of a teacher in Rogers. He eventually pled guilty to that crime as well. 5 News reporter Lauren Spencer has been taking a look at Grant Harden's background as a police officer before his arrest. Lauren joining us now from Eureka Springs, where he used to work in law enforcement. Lauren.
Yeah, Grant Harden's roots run deep in Northwest Arkansas, from Garfield to Gateway to here in Eureka Springs. I spoke with the former chief here who says that Harden should have never been an officer. Wow. Harden is from Garfield and served as a police officer here in Eureka Springs until he resigned in 1996 after he was told by the then police chief, Earl Hyatt, that he would be fired for lying on a police report. The former chief says he was also an officer in Huntsville. According to Benton County records, Harden served 2 terms as a constable for District 1. He also worked as a correctional officer at the Northwest Arkansas Community Correction Center in Fayetteville. In 2016, Harden was hired as a police chief in Gateway, a small town between Bentonville and Eureka Springs. He was sentenced to 30 years in prison for murder and 50 years for rape, convictions that brought long-awaited justice to the victims and families whose fears have now been reignited. Tonight, we're hearing from the former chief here and the former Benton County prosecutor who led the case against Harden.
One of the things that the justice system is supposed to give them is closure, right? And when he has escaped from prison, my thought just goes to the reopening of all those wounds.
It was tragic, but not surprising. He was just always a very violent, I guess, excessive person, and had a really bad temper.
Wow.
Tonight, Pea Ridge police tell us they have increased patrols out of an abundance of caution. If anyone knows anything about Harden, any information or his whereabouts, they're urged to contact law enforcement. Live in Eureka Springs, covering news where you live, Lauren Spencer, 5 News.
Wow.
All right, Lauren, thanks. Again, here's another look at a photograph shared by police of Harden. The photo on the left is Harden's latest prison mugshot. Photo on the right was from surveillance video taken during his escape. He is described 6 feet tall, weighs 260 pounds. He was wearing clothes designed to mimic law enforcement. It is not, though.
Stop saying that. That's a uniform. Where did he get the clothes from if it's not a uniform?
in official law enforcement gear. You can find both of those photos and all our coverage on our Free 5 News smartphone app, along with any updates
All right. Shout
on
out
the
to
manhunt.
Free 5. Shout out to them. Y'all, this story is going crazy. I'm glad I did this. Earlier today, I did a live stream and I was like, man, I need to do this live stream and get it out of the way because there's nothing really is going to happen later on tonight. Boy, was I wrong. While we were watching that, ladies and gentlemen, I just got news that they caught 2 more Pookies. So now the score is 8 to 12-0. All right, let's pull in what actually happened because I actually haven't read it yet. So we're learning this on the fly. We're learning this all together. Let's go. First one off the bat, let's go. It says as follows. First of all, Jason, there it goes. Let's get me out of the way. Texas authorities capture 2 escaped New Orleans inmates. How did they get away to Texas? Well, to me, Texas would have made sense. So in Houston, Texas authorities have captured 2 escaped New Orleans inmates Monday night, according to WDSU sources Jermaine Donald and Leo Tate. They were captured in Walker County, Texas. This comes just moments after Linton Van Beern Jr. was captured in Baton Rouge. Only 2 inmates remain on the run. Those inmates are Antonio Massey and Derek Groves. That's crazy. This story is so wild. All right, so they caught 2 more. So they caught 3 today. Yo, wow. They said, look, we making up for that slow poker stuff we was doing over the weekend. I got another. All right, good gracious, man. I got another email about it. Okay, the goal was not to be doing this all night, but I think we might be doing a watch party, man. Watch us either catch them all. It's like Pokemon up in this joint. Let's go. Hold on, let me pull this over here. All right. Okay, so who they catch next? All right, so we got 3 New Orleans jail escapee captured in Baton Rouge, Houston, leaving 2 still on the loose. All right, who's that guy? I don't know which one that one is. He got the fashion though. He got the Gucci slides on. He got the little jumpsuit. Okay. Orleans Justice Center jail escapee Linton Van Beern Jr. was recaptured on Monday. We already know that in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Attorney General Liz Murrill announced, and fellow fugitives Leo Tate and Jermaine Donald have been apprehended in or near Houston, a law enforcement source told Fox 8. So we're looking here. There's only 2 left. Oh, man. All right. Who's going to be next? Derek Groves or Antonio Massey? Who's next? Like Pokemon up in this piece. Like Mario catching coins. Van Beern, Tate, and Donald are the first to be captured escapees to be caught outside of New Orleans. Good point. Only four-time deleter Derek Groves and Antonio Massey remain at large. I'm just going to keep saying this again, man. That wall has been moved before. That sink has been moved before. I'm just going to say it like that. I'm going to leave it alone. That's it. And Baton Rouge police acting on a tip stopped a man wearing a mask, and a source told Fox 8. We already read that, absolutely. And Liz Murrill confirmed Monday's arrest in her post on Facebook. We'll read a couple other Facebook posts about this as well. And we already talked about the relatives. Okay, so this is relatively, what we've already talked about. Shout out to them. All right, let's go. All right. Why is this not getting, why can't you make these bigger? Oh, there it is. There you go. All right. Jeff Landry's chiming in. He says, excellent work, Louisiana State Police and Texas Department of Public Safety. Antonio and Derek, you are next. Yeah, I'm with this guy right here. He says, definitely did not expect the guy with the face tats to last as long. How do you not stand out with all those facial tattoos? I don't know. I don't know. But needless to say, he was wearing a COVID mask. That's hilarious. All right, let's see right here. All right, this is just an update on this. And I'll pull it in real quick. And we're good. Okay. Hold on one second.
To the Gulf Coast. And WWL chief, the regional power grid operator MISO ordered yesterday's surprise blackouts into and Cleco.
I thought that was on the case. Sorry about that. All right. It started with a single hot water line leak, but led to all water services being turned off. So I guess I've heard this, that all the water is turned off inside of the jail. So not just in that cell, but literally the entire jail. That's what I was told. That's crazy. All right, let's keep going. New Orleans Justice Center is still dealing with the fallout of an embarrassing jailbreak, has now been without running water since Friday night. Multiple sources tell WWL Louisiana this is inhumane, said the wife of one inmate who asked to remain anonymous, fearing that speaking out would jeopardize her husband's case. They are not given any answers. They have not brought any water in to drink. It apparently began with a leak in a hot water line on the 4th floor mezzanine. The jail officials responded by shutting off the water in the facility at 11:15 p.m. on Friday. So Friday to Saturday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah, they're going on 3 days. On Friday, it left the inmates living in filth with no access to showers or ability to flush toilets, and fights are breaking out across the jail facility, sources say. Inmates, family members, and jail staffers told the news station about the lack of running water Monday, but media representatives for the Orleans Parish Sheriff, Susan Hudson, did not respond to the request for information or comment. Man, Susan Hutton, she just give it up. Just give it up. You might have meant well. You might be a really good, but you're not. Just let it go. Resign. Step out of the way. It's not gonna work well for you. WWL also left a message for the OPSO director. What is that? Of operations, Aaron Merle, whatever his name is, who did not immediately respond. They always crack me up with that. They did not immediately respond. All right, so man, now they out of water up in that joint. Man, this place is crazy. All right, so at the current moment, I gotta update the score again. I'll have it ready for tomorrow if we even make it to tomorrow. The score currently is 8-12-0. I have not caught Jim Bob yet, but I got a feeling his time is on. He's on short leash as well. All right. I'm just checking real quick, make sure I ain't miss anybody else, man. Who knows? Marshall might have caught them all, like Pokemon. You got to catch them all. Okay, I don't think they caught any more. It's so wild, man. This is such a crazy story. He is laying real low and being taken care of well by somebody. I agree, brown sweet one. That's what I would probably do. I'd probably look now. I would try to probably get out of the city, out of the region if I could. If I could have got to Texas, if I could have got to Mississippi, I would have did it. But also, as I told y'all, my respect for the criminal justice system is not to be a part of it. Let me see. Sorry about that. Somebody's asking a question. All right, here we go. So yeah, I think this is going to be very interesting how this shakes out. So let's keep our eye on it. I would probably have try to get out of, but you also got to think about it like this. What was their network like before they went to jail? They probably didn't have international or friends all over the United States that they could just go crash on their couch. So their network of friends and network of support is probably where they ended up doing the crimes. Probably, not saying it's a guarantee, but more than likely, right? So they probably don't have a good resource base outside of New Orleans and such like that. I mean, Why would you go all the way to Mississippi and then come back to Baton Rouge? That makes no sense at all. So I'm wondering if that might be another problem. They don't have a good base. So therefore, they are kind of wandering around. It'll be very interesting when the last two guys get caught, because I think that's going to be very interesting. A lot of people are going to be speculating. A lot of people are going to be reenacting how they got here, want to know how they got, if they end up in Dallas or, good gracious, end up in LA. How did they get there? How did they get to Vegas? What happened? So there'll be a lot of that back and forth, I'm sure. But yeah, let me know what y'all think about it. Comment in the chat. What you think? Okay. All right. I'm coordinating something with somebody real quick. Make sure they have everything they need to everything they need for tomorrow. Sorry about that, y'all. Right. There we go. All right. So that was it though. This was a fun surprise. I did not expect it. Oh yeah, the feds are all over it for sure. No, stay out of Atlanta. No, Atlanta's closed. We already had Tiffany Henyard sighting in Georgia yesterday or this weekend. Like, wait, what are we doing? Did y'all see that? Tiffany Henyard sighting in Georgia? And that was crazy town. Let me get that for y'all. All right, let's see. Where is it? I know they didn't remove it. Oh, here it is. Okay, so yeah, Tiffany was here in Atlanta, of all places. Like, who told you to come here? Go away. All right. And y'all want to see it, so let's make sure you can. All right, so that's Piedmont Park here in Atlanta. And somebody said, meanwhile, in Atlanta, that's Tiff. That's her married boyfriend, Jamal. Come on, whatever his name is this week. So that's kind of wild, man. Hopefully, prayerfully, they will stay away from Atlanta. Atlanta's closed. Atlanta is closed. We are not open for any of that kind of foolishness. None whatsoever. Take the grand and plane ride out of the country from Trump. Wait, how can they do that? They can't deport themselves. They're criminals here in the United States, though, and they're U.S. citizens. They're not like they're criminals from another country. I told you Tiff was going to run for mayor to replace the guy who kept going to Africa. I don't think the people in South Fulton are that bad, David. I think that's a very interesting. I don't think the people in South Fulton are that obtuse. I don't think they'll let that slide by them like that. But no, that's an interesting theory, though. I just don't think I don't think those people are that. They're aware of the shenanigans happening around them, so I don't think they'll just fall for the 1-2 okey doke and let her come in there and just run for mayor. I think that would be very interesting if that happened. I'd be surprised, but I think they're a little bit more attuned to what's going on. Let's see. All right, what we got? Well, good people, I thank y'all so much for that. Let me double check, make sure nothing else has popped off. Marshall's been sending me stuff right off the press. Shout out to Marshall, the plug. He is a blessing, I tell you, man. That guy is great. That was wild, man. Now that would be an interesting clash of personalities, but I think Fonnie is just on another level. I don't think Tiffany is even on the level that, like, I mean, Fonnie's a former attorney. She's a district attorney. Like, Tiffany isn't on her level even. Yeah, I just can't see her even. I can't even see her even in a position, maybe a county commissioner, But them Fulton County positions are, whew, those things are brutal. So I don't think she would ever be able to get in one of those, not and run and bump heads with Fonnie. But I mean, anything could happen, but I don't think that would happen. It just doesn't. I don't think it would work. I mean, like or not, Fonnie is much more accomplished, much more established than Tiffany. Now, again, maybe Tiffany might be trying to, cop a political run in another place. I'm hoping it's not here in Georgia for sure. But let's also talk about, wait, where are the feds at? Where are the alphabet boys? Like, she shouldn't be running free at all. She should be getting ready to get fitted for her new outfits in jail. Like, why is she running free? So that's problematic to me. She was starving people, man. She starved them. That's hilarious. That is hilarious and true. I like it. I like it. All right, let me see. All right, got that done. All right, but y'all, thank you so much for rocking with me. Thank you so much for tapping in. I know this was an impromptu live stream. I just want to jump in and talk about they've caught 2 of the Pookies. I'm sorry, they caught 3 of the Pookies. So I need to go get that I need to go get that scoreboard updated. I need to do a new thumbnail altogether. So I'm going to work on that real quick. But I appreciate y'all rocking with me. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you so much for liking the videos. If you don't mind, if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Help me hit my goal of 50,000 subscribers. And it also just lets me know that you enjoy this kind of content and you find value in what we're doing over here, which is giving social and political commentary from a Christian male perspective. So I appreciate y'all rocking with me. Thanks so much for a great night. And we'll do this again real soon. I will probably not, if they arrest everybody else, I probably won't jump back on tonight, but I probably will jump in first thing in the morning. So everybody, thank you again. Tip your waiters on the way out the door. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that green heart on the way out. And until next time, grace and peace.